Hello, my name is Richard Claywell. Welcome back to Litigation Speaks. This will be my last episode for 2022. And I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening to what all I have to say. This platform, what we're doing, is new for me, and it means a lot to me that you have stuck around and listened to what I have to say, and I hope you continue. What I'm doing today is, and actually last week, a little bit different because we're receiving some questions from people and we're answering those questions for them. The problem that I have with the questions is it's hard for me to think of what the questions would be to ask. I think I probably think at a higher level, and I don't understand I understand the basic questions, but to me they're just real basic, and I don't understand why people would even ask the questions. But they are asking the questions, so I'm going to answer some questions for you. One of the questions that I've got is, why do you restrict the use of the report? The reason we restrict the report is when we do a business valuation, we have to follow professional standards. Some of those, the standards are different, but the application of the standards are different. So what winds up happening is, depending on the industry that you're in, for example, you may do an automobile dealership, you may do a medical practice, you may do an engineering firm or an architectural firm. There's some peculiarities with each of those different types of industries that you have. The problem that you have is in a report, you're going to address those peculiar things for that particular industry. If you then turn around and you give that report to somebody else that it really wasn't intended for, and they don't understand the differences between the industries, then they are not going to appreciate what you've got. Then they're going to look at the report and say, this is a bad report. It's not a good report, because they're not used to seeing the peculiarities of that particular industry being documented. So that's the reason that we restrict this. When people get these, they don't understand them. I think it just creates a lot of confusion because they've read a report. They're used to looking at car dealerships. Now they got a medical practice, and it just doesn't make any sense to them at all. So that's why there's a restriction on that. We also have the issue of what's the purpose of the valuation. If I primarily do loans from a bank, assume I'm a banker, and I specialize in doing car dealerships, there's unique ways and items that need to be addressed. So now, depending on the purpose of the valuation, that can change what's happening in a report also. And for example, I've got a little cheat sheet here because I've got quite a few of these. These can be different for the different types of industries that you're involved with. And one would be valuing for an estate tax where someone has died. There's some unique things that's required for that if you're going to file with the Internal Revenue Service. Making gifts to family members or charities. Again, there's some special unique items that go with that. If you do stock options, if you have a minority shareholder dispute, there's issues in that report that are not in other types of reports. If you do litigation support, you need to be careful how you document items that are out there. You may do a leveraged buyout. The leveraged buyout really does not pertain to the other items that we talked about before. An employee stock ownership plan is completely different. Adding or requiring a shareholder's interest in a company, a business spinoff, if you're buying out a partner, if you go to bankruptcy, if you do exit planning, if you have a partnership dissolution, prepare the company for sale. If you have a family divorce, if you have a business divorce, if you have a lost business value, the lost business value is done differently than just a normal business valuation. So these are all items that have some unique characteristics in those. And if you give it to somebody that's not familiar with it, they're not going to understand it. And I think it's going to create confusion in their mind, because I think that one of the first responses that they're going to give you is, this report is not a good report, and I really don't understand what it is that the valuation professional is trying to convey. So I think it's in the best interest not to give it to people or let them give it to other people, because that way I think you eliminate some confusion that could generate and cause a lot of problems that are out there. This is a short topic, and most of these answers are going to be very, very short. Again, I don't need to spend a lot of time talking about what the answers are, but that's the basic answer. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope you have a happy and safe holiday. I'm looking forward to see you again next time. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me or send me an email. Let me know what your questions are, because that's what I'm going to do for the next few episodes, is answer questions to hopefully help you out. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much.